Hey, what's up? This is Cody the Coin Raptor, and welcome to my channel. I'm here to provide you the best crypto content you can find in around 10 minutes. All right, so first let's talk about Bitcoin. The Bitcoin charts lately have been very interesting. Bitcoin is still stuck in this upwards channel, as I've mentioned before, but within this upwards channel, we also have a little bit of a downwards channel. You can see I've mapped out this downwards channel as part of Bitcoin's daily, and I would say that right now it's almost like a week. I'm going to zoom in here into the hourly, and you look at the hourly. Let me zoom in a little bit here. You can see that it is firmly trading within this channel here, and this is a short-term down channel. Right now, it's testing resistance at this point at about 23,200 or so. It's trying, and it's attempting to break through, but the volume has been also very weak here in the past couple hours. So if the volume continues to be weak, I expect it's going to drop, and I expect it's going to continue to fall. And in fact, I think that's probably the most likely outcome for the short term. We're going to see a retest here at 22,700, and possibly another retest at the bottom half of this, at the bottom end of this this channel at about around 22,000 or so. That's a strong possibility. If it breaks out of this channel, which it's trying to do right now, I'm definitely going to post a follow-up Twitter chart analysis in which I talk about where it's going after that point. But a sneak peek of that is going to be it's going to try and climb past these points here of resistance at about 23,650. So that's the next target if it breaks through the upper end of this downwards channel. So in the short term, I expect that it's probably going to continue with this downwards channel basically until it doesn't. And it's going to continue until it doesn't. Now, if we take a look at a strong point of support for Bitcoin, that, of course, lately has been the 200-week moving average. I like to talk about this a lot because it has such a significant impact on the Bitcoin price. We can see that it's right now at 22,800. If it keeps following this downwards channel, it's going to run into that 200-week moving average, and then it's going to have to move below it in order to reach the bottom half of that, the bottom side of this channel. So I expect that the 22,800 is going to be a very strong support point for Bitcoin if it approaches that amount. It's probably also going to act as a bit of a magnet. We can see that in the last couple of weeks, it's acted as a magnet both on the upside and on the downside. You can see with these candles the way they've closed, it's attracting the Bitcoin price right now. So it's been hovering around 22,800. So that's something to really watch out for. Next, we're going to talk about Ethereum. Ethereum has been very strong lately. You can see here that we've had multiple weeks of green volume of all these buyers stepping in here. There are no sellers right now for Ethereum as Ethereum gears up to a potential merge with the Ethereum proof of stake, when right now it's proof of work. So there have been no sellers whatsoever for Ethereum. And it's still struggled to push past that $1,700 region here. And the reason for that is because $1,700 was the support for the May lows. So this is a really strong resistance level. And I think that for Ethereum, if it pushes above this level, that's very bullish. If it continues to bounce off of that level, then it's definitely very bearish. But again, things that I've said before is that if you have a resistance point and let's say Ethereum is pushing up against this resistance point, the more times it pushes up against it, the more likely it is to actually break it. So it's pushed many times against this resistance level, and every time it's been rejected. So it looks like Ethereum wants to break out, wants to push past this current resistance level. I think it's entirely very possible. And Bitcoin and Ethereum have kind of decoupled from each other a little bit because Bitcoin has not shown this kind of strength, but Ethereum has shown great strength ahead of the merge. Now we have to talk about the macroeconomic conditions for the U.S. economy. So there was a jobs report that recently came out on Friday, and this shows that the recovery from the 2020 recession in jobs has proceeded very smoothly. And right now we're actually back at the point before the pandemic started. So you can see here, they kind of compare this to the other years of recessions. There's 1981 here, and there's 1990. And judging by the fact that 2020 is right in the middle of both of these, I think this is strong evidence to suggest that we are potentially in for a recession that's very similar to 1981 and 1990. 1981 also had a huge spike in gasoline prices and inflation, and 1990 also had a war that increased the oil prices. So I think we're probably headed for a shallow recession, probably in the same veins as a 1990 or 1981, which is good news for the crypto markets, because if that's the case, it could mean that we've already bottomed at this point. We've already seen the bottom half of the crypto market, and we're probably not going to go any lower than that, if in fact we are in store for a shallow recession like these jobs numbers would indicate. Also, what's very important to pay attention to is the CPI numbers. CPI print's going to be on August 10th at 8:30 Eastern time. I will be especially paying attention to this because if the CPI data comes out and it's higher than last month's, which is 9.1%, that would mean the Fed has to continue raising interest rates and accelerating those interest rate raises. However, if it's lower, that means that we could potentially see a Fed pivot, and where they reduce the rate of the interest rate increases, or they stop, or they maybe even reverse at some point, maybe later next year. And this ultimately is incredibly bullish for the crypto markets, because if the Fed stops raising interest rates or slows the rate at which they're increasing, that means that the investors will come back into the market, both for stocks and for crypto, and move towards a more risk-on attitude, where they will be buying riskier assets like Bitcoin, like Ethereum. And one thing we've seen throughout the year is, I've talked about the dollar index, and the dollar index has been rising massively. The dollar index has been huge. We'll take a look at that real quick here. Dollar index is up. If we zoom out a little bit, look at the weekly, dollar index is up to the point where it's in rare territory right here. It's at highs. I can just zoom out as much as I can here. It's at multi-decade highs right now. And as I've said multiple times on this channel, a strong dollar index and a strong dollar is not good for Bitcoin. I put up on Twitter that there's a massive uptrend in the dollar index, and when you look at Bitcoin at the same time frame, it's a massive downward slope here. So having a strong dollar is not good for Bitcoin. And what causes a strong dollar is the Fed raising interest rates. So if the Fed stops raising interest rates, or they slow down the rate at which interest rates increase, then we could potentially see a stronger Bitcoin off of a weaker dollar. And that's what I'm waiting for right there, because that right there, that would ultimately mark the bottom of the market. When the Fed stops raising interest rates and investors stop having to fight the Fed, that is super bullish. That is ultra bullish. That would signal the end of, that would signal the bottom of the bear market. Maybe not the end of the bear market, but the bottom of the bear market. And that's really important. We take a look at CryptoQuant. I always like to check the exchange reserves, and the exchange reserves are at a all-time low right now. If you zoom out even further, we can see just how many Bitcoin have been taken off the exchanges. It is amazing to me that the Bitcoin reserve has been so low. People are snatching up all this cheap Bitcoin off the exchanges, and they're moving their Bitcoin off the exchanges because of all the recent news we've got with the hacks and exchanges halting withdrawals. So that's pretty amazing to see. I think that's very bullish. Next, when we talk about our cryptocurrency news, the Japanese cryptocurrency industry, the lobby industry rather, urges the Japanese government to reform tax laws. And so basically what it's saying here is that the Japanese Crypto Asset Business Association and the Japanese Virtual Currency Asset or Virtual Currency Exchange Association, both of these two firms are trying to change the tax law in Japan, because right now it's cryptocurrency income is treated as other income, which according to Japanese tax law can mean that they can have up to 50% taxes that they have to pay under this, and they want it reclassified as a capital gains, which would subject them to a flat 20% capital gains tax levy. So they're trying to make the rules in Japan, the cryptocurrency laws in Japan, more like the rest of the world, where you would tax cryptocurrency at the same rate that you would tax capital gains. Next, we have FTX's CEO Sam Bankman-Fried saying one leading Ethereum rival is the most underrated crypto asset. And spoiler alert for that, it is Solana. Ethereum challenger Solana is the most overlooked digital asset despite its recent struggles. And he says it's the most underrated token right now. I think the answer in some sense is Solana, basically because I think it's had a lot of bad PR over a short period of time. I think it sort of deserved that, to be fair. And I would agree with him wholeheartedly because Solana's had many outages over the last 2 years that it's been in existence. And I think that it's an issue that they can definitely remedy. I'm bullish on Solana long term. I'm bullish on a lot of altcoins long term, to be fair. But a lot of the issues with Solana have come with the fact that it's still working out a lot of the kinks. It's working out a lot of the issues that are plaguing the network, and it's also been the target of a lot of hackers and bad actors. But Sam Bankman-Fried, the FTX CEO, says that it's the most underrated crypto asset. One thing I would say for sure, though, is that he may have a bias towards Solana, considering the fact that Solana and FTX have been partners with each other, and he runs the FTX platform. So I think that it's definitely important to realize that there is a incentive, there's a financial incentive for him to come out and say Solana is overlooked. Okay, so I'm also, like I said, I'm bullish on Solana long term. I think they can fix their problems, and I definitely think that it would be a value to the crypto space rather than a detriment. All right, so that's all I've got for you guys today. If you like this content, please let me know. Please like and subscribe, and I would appreciate leaving a comment, and follow me on Twitter for the most up-to-date information and most up-to-date chart TAs I put out. All right, this is Cody the Coin Raptor signing out.